Greetings YouTube, welcome back to my sketchbook. So here we have a one-handed knife which has some absurd curves, kind of like how I ended the last video. I was trying to go for this when I had done the other. I think this is more successful, and I was kind of going for a weird kind of an orc vibe. And I don't think I did a bad job, but it is not what you'd call downright practical now, is it? Here we have a kind of a science fiction-y, kind of a glaive halberd design, kind of over-the-top manga anime vibe to it. I kind of liked it though. Here we have a chain-style weapon. So these are straight shafts of steel linked with round or oval chain links with spikes on the other end. So a double weapon. This was vaguely based off of a real-world weapon used by the Chinese. Chinese had many wacky martial art weapons. Here we have a very ornate spearhead, and if I remember correctly, I did this for my ex. My ex wanted something for an illustrator for a fantasy, for a campaign, and this is what I did. This is, of course, the shaft's not seen here, but this is the spearhead, and I believe that says something. I don't remember what. And this is, I think this is for Tyr, actually, now that I think about it. This might be a representation of the god of justice. So that may say justice. J-U-S-T-I-C. Yeah, that may say justice. Woohoo! I'm smart. Here we have an absurdly science fiction sword. Makes no sense whatsoever. Looks like something came out of an acid trip from the 70s. And this is only slightly better, but not by much. And again, I was just kind of pushing design ideas around, and sometimes they didn't come out too good. But I am very happy with that spear. That came out nice. Here we have a multi-pointed kind of a partisan kind of an idea. So you got multi-points going all directions, designed as a polearm. Here we have a one-handed Morningstar with a handguard, which I kind of like that idea. And these are just showing that these links here are oval while the others are round. Again, just a little additional detail to show people. And here we have a one-handed kind of almost a saber with this little scalloped in here. And this is again a design idea, and I don't think I got the proportions right on this. This is too straight, and that curve is not right. But what are you going to do? You can't win every time. So here we have a hand blade. This is based off of a guitar. So you have a thrusting blade here, and then two side blades. And these just are etched in. They're not pierced or anything. They're just etched into the steel for some aesthetics. Here we have a design based off real-world weapons. You can actually find weapons like this in machetes or things like that in the real world, and this is just a vaguely fantasy version thereof. This is based on a real world, and I'm blanking on what that is called. It's a real weapon. It's designed, it's Middle Eastern, and I can't remember for the life of me what it's called, but it's based on a real thing. My version is equal blade to shaft, so it's kind of playing off the whole Naginata design. This is a completely over-the-top spearhead or polearm head. I don't know what you want to call it, but I really liked the way it came out. Yes, it makes no sense. It's got that alien vibe to it, but I really like the proportions, and I like the little points. So I think it looks aesthetically interesting, though I do not for a second defend its utility because these are way too thin. But I still like the way that blade looks. I have to point out that a lot of these things I did so long ago I don't even remember drawing them. So it's kind of a rediscovering things for myself. And this was done in May of 2003. So we have a device here that I think this was designed as a throwing weapon. So you got points all over the place. So it could be used in hand-to-hand combat, but you could also throw it. Here we have a heavy falchion style blade. Here we have a battle axe, and I was going for a different design aesthetic, so I was kind of pushing the idea of what is a battle axe. It's got a blade with a point or an edge that's designed to hurt someone, so I wanted something a little different. And here we have, this is vaguely based off a Chinese design. Sun and Moon, is it called? Or Crescent Moon, I'm not positive, but I turned it into a kind of a battle axe-like design. All steel with an etching here to knurling to give it a little grip. Probably a tube in that, because if it was solid, it'd be too heavy. Here we have a combat pick. So it's designed like a pick, but it's wedge shaped. So this is an edge like a scythe, but very much designed. This would almost be a T shape, so it's like the top is T and it comes into an edge. So designed for deep penetration, but you can still do some slashing with it. Going after monsters, that's kind of thing. This is, again, fantasy, but if you're going to go after monsters, you're going to develop weapons that are designed to go after monsters. So I was playing with those ideas. And here we have a one-handed, kind of a double-edged hand blade. And here we have a very strange battle axe, which has points that go everywhere. And again, I was just playing with ideas. It would do the same thing as any other battle axe, so I would just use D&D terms. It does die 8 or die 10, you know, something like that. Two-handed axe, whatever the two-handed axe does. Was it a die 12? Who knows? But that's what it does, just for fun. It's just a different design take on it. Here we have it's playing with the idea of a morning star. These were diamond-shaped spikes, steel shaft, and with a guard with edges. So trying to make this probably a hollow sphere. New ideas in one-handed morning stars. And here we have a big, heavy, two-handed weapon. I was thinking this is Orc, the Eye of Gruumsh, and I think I may have just based this on a football. I may have stolen the idea from a game or an illustration I saw. I'm not positive. But I know I was inspired by a football at one point, and that may have been the illustration. Here we have a dagger, and if I hadn't put the second crescent in there, I think I would have succeeded. I don't know why I put that second crescent in there. Boy, that's not good. Here we have taking a gladius and giving it more of a leaf shaped blade, and I kind of like the way that came out. So you got some thrusting, but also some slashing. Here we have a very, very simple, spared, down to the bone short sword. Here we have a large hook type polearm, which is silly because that's very, very weak in there, as are these points. But it was just playing with some design ideas. Oh, it's a blank page. That's boring. So here we have something, I believe I stole this idea from a die I have, a 6-sided die, which comes to points. So this is a hollow here, and this is an all metal, probably cast out of bronze, and it's designed to be a big, heavy war club, the kind of thing that an ogre would use. Here we have a kind of almost a generic double-bitted battle axe. You know, there it is. If somebody wanted an illustration for a game, give me an illustration for battle axe. There you go. Fantasy people eat that kind of thing up. Here we have a large two-handed axe type weapon, but it would kind of almost a heavy glaive on this thing. And here we have a bow with ancillary blades here, so if someone gets too close, you could use them, but they're way too thin. But it wasn't a horrible idea, just not well executed. Like I said, I always didn't do it. Now, I love this axe. It's not the best, and I've done better at later stages in my sketching history, but I just love the curves on those blades. That was just so well done. I was so happy with that, and I like the way this shaft came out. And this is an absolutely and utterly, completely absurd sword. It makes no sense. The kind of thing like a demon would carry. All metal, points everywhere, pointlessly, needlessly, literally silly. But yeah, I think I actually had used that as something that a demon carried at one time. Here we have a one-handed axe, but it has a large blade here, and it's sharpened here as well. And with a point at the end, this could be, I think that was cylindrical, so it was like that, designed to for heavy impact against heavy armor. And then we have a silly two-handed sword. This is not necessarily silly. Having a wrapped guard here makes sense. This is absurd. This is just way too thin. The shaft is too thin. It makes no sense. And here we have a triple-bladed sphere, or like a partisan, and it's absurdly thin. It would never work. These would snap off the first time. So all of these blades would snap off the first time you use them. But as a design idea, it didn't fail completely, and I had a little shell in there, so it kind of a vaguely aquatic theme going for it. So maybe I was going for a fantasy trident. I'm not 100% sure on that one.